Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
So welcome to another edition of Connections 50 Plus. We just here trying to figure ourselves out, and by extension, help you to figure yourselves out. And of course, each one of us is very different in terms of how we view the world in which we are currently living, but that doesn't mean that we don't agree on certain principles that govern life after 50 plus. With me this evening are the creators, and I don't know why they put me in the hot seat, but I have gotten the honor of being in this hot seat. So we have the creators of Connection 50 Plus, and that's Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite and Jennifer Gibbons Joseph. I am Maureen Joanne Boyd.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Maureen, that was excellent. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, and again, welcome to this evening's show.
So, Maureen, what are we up to?
Right. So again, we strengthening our resolve to be better in the third act. And I like the topics that we have been discussing thus far, because it really focuses on us. We're not concerned about other people or other areas in other people's lives. We're really minding our own business and ensuring that we are prepared for the next 20, 30, 40 years of our lives. So on that continuum, I felt, and we all agreed, that we should be talking about living by choice and not by default. Throughout our discussions this year, one of the things that we've recognized is that I don't know whether people are afraid in our era to make different choices, or whether it is that they know what they love what they're doing and they know what they're doing at this point, or whether it is that they have an idea that change needs to come, but they have no plan. And one of the things we discussed in our meetup was actually working on a plan where there are no rules to support our continuance throughout the rest of our lives. Because we intend to be long livers. If it's one thing after God, we all intend that even if we don't have length of life, we have quality of life, and therefore we have to be working towards that. And it's not going to fall in our laps, and that what we knew when before is no longer applicable to where we are on this stage. So living by choice really speaks to the fact that we are taking ownership, we are being accountable, and certainly that we want to discuss some of the challenges that people face when they decide, because it's a decision to live by choice. Yeah? So I open the floor to the creators of Connections 50 Plus to start this discussion today, and hopefully to ignite some thoughts in the viewers' minds as to how you all are going to do likewise in the third act.
Maureen, I really like this topic because I keep saying the stage I'm at this stage, I'm saying at this stage, forces me to make some difficult choices. And I said difficult because you mentioned then by choice, and it's so easy for us to default to the old way. Because when we make a choice, and let me talk about myself. In making a choice, I would go through look at different scenarios. Sometimes I may even chat with a friend and say, listen, this is a decision I have to make. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And when that time comes, I may still find myself hesitating because I may feel a bit scared. And it's so easy to default to, hey, I'm not doing it like that, I'm going back to the good old way because I feel I'm more comfortable in doing it like that. And I will be successful because I'm more comfortable. It's always difficult in making a choice, especially when it entails doing things differently. It becomes difficult and you hesitate because you could be fearful. But what I have found when you overcome the fear, and I for me, my mantra is that I'm going by faith. I'm not allowing fear to get to me. So I'm moving with faith. And that takes me over the barrier, right? Or the hurdle. So I would say definitely as we get older, as we move from one stage to the other, different circumstances forces us to make a choice. And I have found that when I don't allow that fear and doing it the old way because that is the way, and sometimes the choice we have to make, we never had to do it before.
Yeah.
We never had to do it before. So it's either we feel stuck and we shut down or we move forward. So so far I have found moving forward and not looking back has helped me tremendously in many different aspects. And as we chat, I may recall certain things that it jolt my memory that I did to help me to keep focus and not to default. So that's my contribution to now. Yeah.
Mhm. Maureen, when you presented this topic and we are chatting about it, Jennifer is right. It is very, very easy for us to think back to the good old days. This nostalgia of how we lived before and people took care of each other and things like that. And the truth is that we, because of the lives that we live, don't take care of our parents in the way that they might have, or they might have taken care of their parents. So it's not even a once removed model. Our model is diluted from what our parents did to their grandparents. But even though we have a situation in front of us, when we think of our futures, we still go back to grandparent and great grandparent standards, you know? And I've personally had to come to a serious reckoning, because I am, let's say, a cheese sandwich with the cheese in the middle, in that I have responsibility for my father, and my oldest son has a handicap, and there will be continuing. He has a lot of independence, he earns his money, but there are responsibilities that will continue. And I had to face a decision, and I realized, Materia, when you make this decision, you're going to be categorized as a proper but C'est la vie, and I'll tell you what it is. So my father and lady I lovingly call my second mother recently they both live at a retirement home at their choice. They did extensive baseline tests of their health and so on. And this was done to have the home measure the level of care that they would need going forward, and of course feed into fees. So it was more than an executive medical. It like profiles and everything like that. And the good news coming from this thing is that at 92 going on 93 for my father, and at 91 going on 92 for my dear other mother, nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them. I has a little touch of dementia, but nothing is wrong with them. So the expectation is that they would have very long lives, even going towards being centenarians. Now, that is typically good news, not so? Very good news.
Yeah.
Good. So, in my way, I sit down and I was happy. I said, this is excellent. But when I looked at the spreadsheet on the bank account, you know, when you're making plans for the future, you have to make some assumptions. Jennifer, you know that. Typical lifespan. So these humans going to live to 100, which is another 8 years in that 7 to 8 years in Daddy's case, and more for Norma. But the planning, given their current standard of living, so the fund's going to last for 4 to 5 years. So I realized, wait, something has to change. Because I also did my baseline medicals. And I have my father's genes. I good. I healthy. So I might go to 95, 100 too. So while Miss and Mr. looking for 8 or 9, 7 to 8 happy years going forward, I can, short of God having a different plan, look at 30. That's a whole lifetime. A whole lifetime. But they have 4 years money for 8 years. And I have made arrangements for, as we say, you have in the decades, you put the money for the decades.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, resources were sold to fund their retirement. We sold our family house, and that is what is financing them. So if those proceeds are expected to last, say, 4 or 5 years, how the extra years getting funded? Do I have to then go into my resources and compromise my plans for the 95 or probably 100 that I'm looking for? And I'm saying to myself, okay, where does the compromise happen? Is it that I make gradual adjustments to how they live? Or do I continue letting the party go and compromise how I live for the next 30 years? And as I was going through that, I'm saying, you know, our generation typically thinks of sacrifice and no, it's the parents, it's the this, it's the that, and no, it will work out. It will work out. And when I look at my life, My husband, my children, they love me. I have no doubt that they love me. But they're very pragmatic and practical people. And I know if I don't put contingencies in place, they will not plan for me in the future by saying, what would mommy love? What would Terrian love? And put things in place to that standard. They are practical people. They will say, this good, this place clean. They have it. She could do with this.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna know. She could. And I find that is intolerable for me. So I have made a decision. I cannot compromise my long-term life plans to facilitate. All right, they're going to be winding up 100 years of living. I'm not going to compromise my future to facilitate this. The compromise has to be on how you live your next 8 to 9 years. And I don't think a lot of our generation think like that and would make those kinds of choices. You said, Maureen, you live by choice, not by default. I think we like to put our heads in the sand or put blinkers over our eyes and then get on our knees and pray that something happens, something happens to fix the situation. As distinct from looking realistically at what is in front of you, and with time, giving yourself a good runway to make an adjustment, make decisions that are in the best interest of everyone. And I am always wondering, why do we punish ourselves like that? Why when we know? Because we know what is going to happen. We know the children. We know, but we still hope in the face of no evidence, So I had a conversation with my father about what is going to happen. And he looked at me and he said, definitely not. I'm making no compromise. And I said, well, when I make the compromise, probably your brain will start to go, so you wouldn't know the compromise being made. But I'm just letting you know the compromise is going to be made.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us think it reflects negatively on us, our character, I don't know what it is, that we don't make choices, we don't make decisions based on the best life that we want to live, even while others around us remain comfortable and still well taken care of.
Right. You mentioned something there, which is something that we could talk about as well. This whole issue of one child being accountable and responsible for the outcomes,
I
because
have siblings.
once, right, well, this is my thing. So that's something as well. How
They
is
are
it that
broad.
others, right, others are allowed to live their best life and even to adjudicate it? Because I'm certain that if he were to speak to them, they would say, no, Daddy, no, you will continue. Don't study that. Don't worry about those things. But they don't have the financial responsibility or the day-to-day even operations, because and that's something we have to look at for ourselves as well in terms of advocacy. And the other thing is that we could discuss as well those rigid rules by which we live, because those rules anchor us to certain beliefs and values that we continue to hold on to, even though the foundation is no longer there to anchor those rules and foundations. And then we have the expectation that generations behind are going to acquiesce or decide that they will maintain it because they love us and they care for us and they want us to be happy and they want us to be comfortable. but we're just not recognizing that happiness and comfort are our responsibility. And the way in which we appreciate those things will be determined by the choices that we make.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can have a discussion about that aspect of it. Why do we give up our autonomy? Why do we feel a sense of guilt and shame about making decisions for us to be happy and comfortable? And why do we think that we are going to, in the book of life, we are going to be held um, to any higher order, or that at the end of the day, if we quote unquote don't do certain things, that it will go against us. If we go in the negative column and the naughty corner.
Maureen, I want to touch on two aspects of that from what Terry Ann says. You see that financial aspect coming out of the financial sector. And I recall the majority of people don't like to discuss the topic of estate planning or last expenses or death and disability. That is real taboo. We still have this belief, and I am again we're talking about a wage group or the belief that when you discuss death or disability or planning, that you wish any person will die, or you will say it's a real taboo thinking. We know, we recognize it shouldn't be so, but it's real and it happens up to today. Okay, so let me tell you that's one. But as Tarian said, yeah, if she doesn't put things in place and you do have it to contingency planning, you would find yourself in that predicament. And I would suggest when we don't wait, the other aspect too, people will say, well, I have no money, I ain't have nothing. As Terian's dad will say, we gonna figure it out when that time come. Why worry about it now? Things will thing. We can have the children put up the money and they're very flippant in the way they chat about that. But I can say at this stage, and Terian shared a real life story that happening right now, that listen, whether you have money or you don't have money, it is something you have to think about. Because if you don't have money, you have to know what you have to do. What we don't do, and I always, advise about it, but it is just not our custom to do it. We have to have a chat right now. We can't wait with whoever our siblings are, the children. If we still have our parents alive, we need to get together, siblings, and discuss what is happening. Even if one person taken care of now because others may be overseas or can't afford, whatever the situation, everybody should be aware of this is the situation. Because one person, it is a lot of strain for one person, especially if there isn't any funds. You have to look at the decision making. And the contingency there, and when Tariana is speaking and I'm saying, if when that time comes, even now she understands, so she knows, and anything could happen. It may not be her father. She herself may reach a situation where, listen to me, the doctor say everything great with me today, but somebody crashed into my car the next day. Nothing but me and my health. And I always remember in the case of when he was a relative of mine who got in an accident, everything was going great. Family gets in an accident. And we say, if you die in the accident and they just bury you, get the burial, it's one thing. But you see the disability and other situations, you just don't know. And as a psychologist, Maureen, shock could send people into all different stages in terms of mental, right? these are things what we need to do, and what we shift on and turn a blind eye towards is these type of things that could happen to us and to the person, because we
Yeah.
also want to know right now. And it was very real to me. And I say we share in real situations here, that in lying down in this bed and I'm saying, okay, God, what is this? You know, people say from the time you tell somebody cancer, it's like a death sentence, bam, you know? And I remember my daughter saying, Mommy, what do you have? What do you have in place? It's a real question. I can't, it's real, it's real. And I had to say, because coming out of my career, I put things in place. But let me tell you, you could never be perfect. And you overlook a lot of things. Until that time happened, then it hit your shocks. I thought, so on, I thought, so on, I thought. So contingency planning, I don't want to say no, I ain't using no fancy thing, no estate planning, that basic here. Contingency planning, having the persons you're responsible for, or persons who you believe may be responsible for you. Have
Yeah.
to have that conversation, because we need to have a reality check. Because when I spoke to my daughter and I work out, I had to come down and say, hey, listen, if it comes to this, this is what I want you to know. It may cost X. So even if you have to sell the house and work out how long it will last there, or if you know, you look at different things. It's a reality check, because it can happen and you're seeing it happen around you. So
Mhm.
contingency planning is important, and what Terry is real, because the reality is you put aside that, and in her case, people will say she's fortunate, she had that money to put aside. Of course, she said she sold the family house, but the fact is there is a fund that can be utilized, but it can't go on forever. So
Yeah.
because if she hasn't been, and this is what we have to do, we have to keep reviewing, you know, because things keep changing, costs going up more and more, you know. Sometimes situation, if you could live on X right now, you thought you could, your grocery might be 1,000, your grocery going up to not even 2, 3, because it's not just groceries, everything else has gone up. So we have to look for inflation, factor in certain things, face the reality, and say, you know what, either we can't eat, so again, you know, we have to do so. This person who hasn't been working and going along happy, have to find a job to contribute if they want to live in the house. Because again, our age group, we have a tendency for the children to say, you know, it have no jobs outside here. They ain't can't do that. It's too hard for them because they used to suffer from this as a child. We look for all excuses, and we're very judgmental with the type of jobs. I was saying I need, and this is just a quick example before I stop. I need a plumber to do I swear I could do it for myself. Huh? Right? It's just a change, a part in it tank. You buy it, watching it, and I know I could pull it up and put it in the new one. Anyway, the bottom line is you call it the plumber. You know, you're buying the part and they just come in, palm and put it. But to come and just do that, it might take, if it take 15 minutes, I know that's long. But let's say it take half an hour. That's $350. You understand? That is just that. We have to look at our costs rising in ways that, so you factor in a lot of things. And I'm saying it costs me less to visit the doctor, seriously. The general practitioner, the doctor visit was $300. The plumber to come
Yeah.
and the boom bang was $350. So we have to be realistic, of course, realistic of life, recheck. Especially I dealing here with the financial aspect, what people don't like to deal with. It have all different parts to it, but as Terian mentioned that, I want to say what Terian has done is did a review and be realistic, because it's not just whether the money they're paying, but what about me? Because at some stage, it may have to come out of my pocket, and I ain't have the prices going up. By the time it reached to me, you think you put aside enough. I always say that I swear I had a great retirement fund. And I had to leave the workplace before. And, a lot of things has happened that eroded. And you have to live differently. And we have to you talk about choice. We have to make that choice and be realistic, because many of us not realistic, We want to continue in the same lifestyle. And we say, when that time comes, somebody will take care of us now. And when that time comes, we're suffering from all sorts of depression and everything, because we realize it's too late. So I just wanted to share that on the financial aspect of when we're looking to make a choice. I'm glad Terian brought that up, because that is real. For those who may not be able to afford to send them to retirement home, or may not choose to do that. Again, it's a matter of choice. And you or the one might decide, you know what, I would be the caretaker. Hey, we have to check these choices that we made. And I think was mentioned before, not because our parents did it and we grew up with our grandparents, living with the grandparents, everybody grandparents living home. Hey, not because they did it, it means we could do it. They had a different support system, a whole village to support them. We don't have any village. We don't have 5 children. We don't have it. Some of us, as Maureen, you will know, we may have one and they overseas, or one and they died before us, or one and them can't even help themselves. Let's be realistic in terms of when we're making our choices. Yeah.
Yeah. As you talk about choice, Jennifer, both you and Terian throw out something there that I feel people should it should start to tinkle their whole perspective of life and living on this third stage. And it's simply the choice for you. There are too many people who are still using their resources to take care of everybody else with the hope that when they finally need those resources, it's there for them. I would like to say categorically that is whatever you are doing with your resources for other people, they are living their best life and experiencing their dreams. Anybody at this stage who has those kinds of dreams, let them figure out how they're going to make those dreams become reality. Do not shut down your dreams and your goals and your expectations and your intentions at this stage of your life, because you fear that other people are going to say you are selfish, or yes, you are selfish, because your days of preparing a platform for other people, according to my father, clearing track for Guti to run is over. You are the Guti and you run in. And time is running very quickly. In this third act, I thought that it took me a long time to get to 20. It's not taken me a long time to get to 70. Certainly looking like it's shorter towards 80. So what am I doing with my resources? And this is another thing too. We in this hoarder mentality. We have a mentality of scarcity. There's no scarcity when it comes to this third act. Whatever remain, whoever fight for it, or whatever, so shall it be. You have no control over that. So why are you still designing platform for other people to work on, and those people don't care? They will not care. My son said, when you die, open the doors. I'm opening the doors. Anybody who wish for anything, go with it. I don't want it. I don't care. So I'm treasuring a lot of things from my parents and grandparents, and now I am myself are looking to see who in the next two generations would appreciate those things. And I'm giving it to them so that they know can in fact enjoy them.
Yeah.
And if they want to make that a piece for discussion amongst their peers or their children, but they might crash it and it fall down and break. Am I going to quarrel
And they
then
just
about
throw
the
it away.
but it just threw it away. I mean, a friend of mine told me that the other day. She said, stop giving me gifts. She told the group, stop giving her gifts. And I said, but why? What is that? She said, because a lot of those gifts I give to other people. So
Yeah.
it's a good resource for me because I do have to buy something or if I forget but you all are wasting your money. Let us do something. Let us travel. Let us go to tea. Let
Mm-hmm.
us go to lunch.
Yeah.
Let us a sauna, let us do a pedicure together.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Stop it. Stop it. And it was really a mindset and I think what is happening at this season for me, I am recognizing a lot of things are operating by trial and error, but I am willing to take the chance to
Yeah.
try. I'm more than even trying, I'm doing. If it failure is just another element of success because it's sending me in directions that I knew I had the capability, I just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
I now have the opportunity. So let's talk a little bit about how we are using our resources for ourselves, and more importantly, how we can help other people feel comfortable and confident to want to do that without having guilt and shame and blame, or even attaching their choices to other people's opinions or values.
Yeah.
Maureen, that is something a lot of us live like we are ashamed of our success. We are so ashamed that we push through, developed careers, got accumulated resources, gave our children opportunities that with no sacrifice to them that we couldn't dream of having. We are ashamed that we are in a position that we know people and have access to leisure, to benefits. We could go to the spa, we could take a trip, we could decide to go to Tobago or Toco or go up Grand River for a weekend, or we behave like we are so ashamed of all the work we've done for the past 30 or 40 years that has landed us in this place. And we so ashamed that we behave when we look at some of the choices we make, some of the decisions we are making. We can't let people know that we have a better standard of living than when we started. No, 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 don't let anybody know.
Yeah.
We talk down our achievements. We talk down the comforts that we have around us. If something is beautiful, if something, oh, that's a nothing. We just behave as though we are ashamed of all the achievements that we've made. And I am not putting a dollar tag on these achievements. I am talking about
Right.
you could have been a phenomenal family maker. You could have been, you could make bread, whatever it is. But whatever it is you put your mind to, it carried you, it carried your family, it carried people that you love. And everybody has landed somewhere where they could be on their own 2 feet. It mightn't be perfect, but they're on their own 2 feet.
Correct.
And you have now landed also in a place with a bit of extra where you can give yourself the luxury of going to dinner with some friends, going to a show in Napa or Sapa or Queen's Hall, go to a fete, go to a trip. You have that. And a lot of us, when we look at how recklessly we use our resources at this stage in life, when the accumulation phase has finished, and it's not only money. The accumulation is also my status. It's also the knowledge that I acquired. It is the skills that I have. It is the ability to make a space beautiful. It's the ability to create things with my hands and to cause my life to be easy. And many of us, because we seem to be so ashamed, that's the only word I could think of to describe this kind of behavior. We begin to make some compromises that hurt us.
Yeah.
We compromise on our space. We compromise on our time. We compromise on the energy that we put into lost causes. We compromise on making everybody seem better, as you said. And at the end of it, the paradox for me is when you get down to the bottom, everybody is saying, but how it will look? I mean, how it will look? You want it to look good, but you're behaving like you're ashamed of your achievements.
Correct.
And my view on that, I am not ashamed of my achievements at all. I am very proud of myself, where I've come from generationally. I could go back to great-great-grandparents, and I know that if I start making reckless decisions to live less than I should be, I have a great-grandmother and a grandmother on my maternal side who, if they could come down and put a halberd behind my head, they will do it. And ably abetted and supported by my mother. And so many of us would find a problem in making a statement like I just made. I would seem to be boastful. I would be who she feels she is, or who she what. I'm being very realistic. I know how I've worked. I know what I've achieved. I have not declared a figure as yet. So if anybody has a figure in their head, it is your imagination that is taking you to different places. If some people look at this space and they say, oh, that plant she have in the back is a fancy plant. That plant is plenty money. Well, they should have said when the plant was this big and it just stayed in the pot and get big. But we are so into calculating other people's worth and comparing it to ourselves. And so many of us want to be on the negative side of that comparison. So when somebody judges us, there's a kind of dissonance going on where, yes, you want to look nice, but you don't want to look too nice. You know?
Yeah.
And we make decisions that compromise our happiness going forward. Really, really compromise it. As I said, I have 30 years, you have 8 years. You have money for 4 years. Where the other 4 going to get financed? Do I compromise my money, which has to stretch 30 years? It have to stretch, which means that I'm trying to have a slow going down. I must pick up that and put it in you when you had a great increase and you want to end so. You don't want no slow decline. No, that's not fair. It's not fair. And I don't believe that I am selfish. I believe that I'm being a very good daughter. I'm taking very good care of you. But I'm being practical given the realities of your life and the realities of my life. And I don't think that that is a bad thing. But I think a lot of us think that others will think negatively of us if we make ourselves a priority. If we have any compromise anywhere. Um, and I think it is causing us to lose resources, to lose energy. And I think energy is one of the main things because we are doing things that we don't want to be doing. We are supporting people to pursue goals that we know ain't going nowhere. But how it gonna look if I don't support the boy or I don't support the girl or the grandchild and how it gonna look if they don't have this thing or that thing. And I think when we get to those kinds of decisions, we are not paying good homage to the track that we've just come off of and the kind of trailblazing that we have done in all areas because we're going back to our great great grandparents' era and behaving as though the last 40 or 50 years never happened. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't understand the psychology of that. It always confuses me.
Ariane, I believe a lot of the thinking comes from the how you brought up, the how much you saw before you. Because you see this thing about you must be humble. And you're told by being humble, it means you can't, if you achieve certain things, don't talk about it too much because people find you boastful, you're showing off and that sort of thing. So even persons who have been very, very successful in their careers and in their lives to a certain extent, when they reach this stage and they're no longer out there, they're ashamed to even talk about their achievements. The other thing they tend not to do is because of that, they don't even want to look as, and you said it too good. I have friends sometimes they would say, you go in the mall and you're looking at things. Money is not the problem. And they see something and they really like it. And I say, good, I'm not spending that money on that, because, when I go out there, people might look at me and feel I have money. What is all that about? That don't make, as you said, it just don't make sense. But you feel, I'm not sure if it's the word ashamed, but you don't want to celebrate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? As I said, I come out the industry of show. So my concern is different. Going anywhere you want to show, you dress up, you look your best, you spend all the money you have and you will make it back. So that's a different concept. But I have been in many situations and I will say, let's do that. Or friend of mine, I have some beautiful friends. So for me, it's like, let's go to tea, let's go to the, and even if we go in once a month, if we can't, we say, you know what, we'll skip that. But let's do something. You understand? Where we could go out and celebrate life. But many of us somehow don't know about celebrating themselves. You don't want to celebrate yourself. And I believe that comes a lot from that thinking and we doubt ourselves. We doubt ourselves. And Maureen, you mentioned something, even if you fail, you go, we're the ones who fail ourselves, Nobody else, we went
Yes.
out here. Nobody don't know what I do. I have my goals. I may not share it, but or if never share it, and I do achieve it and I go along. The only reason that somebody else miss is if I tell them, oh gosh, I ain't achieved that, I should have this and I should have that. If you don't say anything, and what failure and fail, you just will take longer if you continue looking at it. But we beat up on ourselves again because the measurement we use. We're not using our measurement. We're using Maureen measurement or Terrian measurement. Not sure. You are driven by your goals, by what you want to do, what makes you happy. And I love the garden. And I went, and that's my priority, right? So neighbor asked me, they just tell me, let's go, the garden sale, whatever, and I gone. So La Vega had sales, I end up. And I said, I'm not buying anything, but I come home and I look at them plants and say, Jennifer, why did you buy this? Because look at how much you have to buy pot and all that. But the thing about it is, I felt so good. Now that money, I ain't even start to think whether I have the money or not. The thing about it is, I wait and I say, ain't too bad, buy it, bring it home, look at it. But I didn't beat up myself and say, hey, I look for space to put it. I look at it. It make me feel real good inside. I come back. I look and see the things. And let me tell you, and Terry, I will appreciate this. So, they say spending money you didn't have. But I say, it ain't $1 million. It thousands of dollars. So it was worth it. And I had a ticket to buy for something. And I said, if that money was for that ticket, and you go on and you buy plants. And next thing you know, I talked to Tarian and something, and she said, don't worry, you're going to buy the ticket. And I say, God, you see that good thing about the plant. So I'm just saying sometimes, I call it carefree, Tarian, what word Tarian is used. But
I deserve it. I'm not
you
I
paying
deserve
coy.
it.
I'm not
But
paying
yeah,
coy about
like,
my
you
life.
deserve it. I'm happy with it.
I'm
It's come like
worthy.
sometimes you go and you like to dress, you like to go to the
Money
hairdresser,
will
you like to
come.
do
The
things.
pension will come
You
next
go
month.
because you shift your priority, because this is our time. My thing is, if I can't treat myself now in these little things, I'm not talking about going on a world tour, I'm talking about simple things. If you can't treat yourself nicely, then what?
Yeah.
When you're going to do that? You will shift other habits some of us have. And I know a friend who's taking care of her mom. She has some decisions to make, and she's talking about the money. And I said, but by the time your mother pension, so and so, so. She said, girl, I don't touch that. I said, how you mean you don't touch that? She said, well, that is in case of emergency. I said, but how much money is there? She said, well, we haven't, and she has other siblings, we haven't touched that, we leaving that there. So I spending my money, your sister spending your money. And I say, all you all have to do is make a budget, say, okay, this can be the cost of last expenses. And she has to do this, that. And the money is to take care of her. Let the woman live a quality life. Why you have her suffering, not, you know what I mean? In a space when you can hire help to make her more comfortable. It's her money. Make her comfortable. And then you're holding on to him in case of emergency. So you now, the one doing a lot of things when you can hire help using her money to do that. Maureen, what is it? It's just our
Building their inheritance.
Yeah. But more importantly,
but that, I mean, just one thing. Terry, and that may be a point, but it don't make sense because you suffering yourself, and when time comes, she might outlive you. You understand?
yeah,
That's
but
what I
it's not even.
There's a math that people use, and this may not be the case, because while they're not And I know many people who have that kind of thing. And I don't spare expenses with my father because it's his money. But now that I know the numbers, I have to watch it. Because when you see the choices people make, so all right, you have to get a dress for mommy or daddy to go to a event.
Yeah.
A dress they really like might cost $800.
Right.
And they have $8,000 in the bank. But no, you're not touching that. But you will go and buy a $200 dress for mommy. You're protecting your inheritance. Because mommy would have loved the $800 dress and she would have
My
had
money
the
to
best
look
life
good.
at the function. But you keep it in the bank and she had $8,000 in the bank. You wouldn't take out the $800 and buy the lady the dress, but you take your cheap self and buy a $200 dress for the woman and send her in that. And that is what I call protecting your inheritance. Because when we say no, we leaving her money for emergencies, but you can't afford to maintain the person at the standard that their income allows them to, their pension. You
And that they
holding
will
their
really
pension,
enjoy.
and then you taking from you cannot afford to give them what they could buy for themselves. You are protecting your inheritance.
Yeah.
And we have to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Okay, Maureen, yeah.
Yeah, but there are a number of things coming out of this discussion. And the first thing is that, Terry, and you always say this, and it's something that I think about too. How is it that people who we built a legacy for ourselves in the world of we, and now that we no longer hold those titles, all of a sudden we get on like we're dumb and stupid and we don't know how to make a decision. And the decisions we're making are not practical, realistic, or even probable. To the point where a lot of those decisions we're not recognizing will one day impact the quality of our lives as well. Because if you teach your, for example, if somebody's advocating for you and they see you do that to somebody else, you feel that they can buy you when you're ready with all the money you save, a $800 dress, you get a $50 dress. Go and buy Rata and get you a $50 dress
Because
because
you
they already
taught them that.
calculated. You taught them
You
that.
taught
So you
them
can,
that.
they calculated more for me. They calculated more for me. You so stupid. You stop there. No, they're gonna take it to another level because of course those that we leave behind are entitled and privileged. Them don't know nothing about wait till tomorrow and delayed gratification. We've set up a play that allows them to believe that all of this will be yours. The play I have set up for my son is that anything you work for, you're welcome to, and whatever remains, right? So that we don't have to have a discussion about that at all. Don't tell me anything about Amazon. Don't tell me anything about travel. Don't tell me anything about the cruise. We understand the dynamics. Yes, yeah, you have your bills. And I say, okay, organize yourself, right? Why have we lost that ability? The other thing too is that why you want to be calculating for somebody else? When are you getting the time to calculate for yourself? Because in your efforts to ensure that she have exigencies and contingencies, what are you doing in the meantime? Are you not seeing yourself as a contingency? You are also putting yourself under the same pressure that you are putting that person under. So you have become a contingency to your own life. And so your time is speeding by and you are not doing anything with you. And what do you want? Do you want that people will say, she was a very good daughter? She did without, and she took care of her mother.
Is that a
You
good
know, all
daughter?
the other siblings, they just live the best life. Yes, they're right. Live your best life because this is not a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
This is real McCoy. When it's done, it's done. So the conversation today should really start people are thinking, one, about legacy, because legacy seems to be a big thing in terms of the way we were socialized, what you're leaving behind. Yeah, I don't know about that leaving behind
It's
because
not
nobody
always
cares.
money.
Correct. The
to be
other thing too is
values.
about economics and trying to bribe people with your money, because a lot of people at our age also do a lot of manipulation and
Yeah.
gesticulation and intimidation with their children. Well, if you don't do this, you can't get that, and I'll give your brother, and he would, and and so you're messing with another generation's mind and not
Yeah.
giving them the opportunity to really live. And the third thing is, who knows how long anybody would have lived? If this were the last day of your life, is this the way that you would look at it and decide that, yes, I had a good life? I could go and lie down now because eternity is a lifetime. This is a very short period, and it is getting shorter. And there are issues that we may experience, like mobility, like finances, like lots of friends, lots of loved ones.
Lots
There
of
are a number
children.
of things. There's a lots of children. There are a number of things that could. We beg every day that that wouldn't be our legacy, but we don't know. How are we enjoying whatever quality we have in an effort to ensure that we're not just saving quantity? And the people who you're leaving it for will squander it or not know what to do with it and live their best life in the shortest period of time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We have that right. That's the other
Mhm.
thing too. I want people to recognize, you listen, you don't have privileges, you have rights. At this stage, you have earned the right to do whatever you choose to do within reason, of course. And if it is it not even within reason, because Terry-Ann talked about that too, other people can think that it's crazy. If it's not crazy for you and you could live the consequences of your action, take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And I think, Maureen, I mean, I'm looking at the time and we we are at 25 minutes. But I really do believe that this is a necessary conversation, and those topics, those questions that you just asked about where have we lost the ability to do the best of for ourselves? Where did that go?
Yeah.
And why do we treat ourselves as contingencies? Are really good topics for our meetup for next Wednesday. And the conversation is going to continue there. So I really, I am an advocate of, I really am very proud of where I have landed. I know my parents are proud. I'm happy that my mother got to see my success. My father is as entitled as my children to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Don't know. Um, and I think it will be a great disservice for me to begin behaving as though there's something wrong with what they sacrificed to allow me to achieve and what I sacrificed to earn for myself. And people who like to depreciate themselves, I don't understand it. And I don't mean that you go extravagant and showing off, because showing off is a different thing altogether. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about showing off, but people who consciously depreciate yourself to look humble, to look humble. I'm not a proud person, but I'm realistic. If that's your choice, that's your choice. That's what I would say. But definitely, I do agree that our cohort has challenges in standing up for ourselves and giving ourselves what we deserve, especially when it means we have to compromise on what somebody else gets. Even if
Yeah.
that compromise is killing them. You
Correct.
know? I really
Yeah.
do think, and I look forward to that discussion in our meetup. Yeah. Jen?
Yeah. No, I just want to tell everybody to celebrate you,
Yeah.
enjoy life.
There's a song now in Rose, I Celebrate Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very,
Exactly.
very
Exactly.
Yeah.
powerful song.
I
Yes.
love it.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
Yeah.
powerful song that
Yeah.
people need to really listen to. So,
Mhm.
yes.
And that's it. Yeah.
Maureen, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Wonderful. So we see everybody in the meetup on Wednesday. And Gaia viewers, just send a WhatsApp to any one of us. The numbers are on the screen, and we will get you into the meetup. And the QR code is on the screen. But if you don't want to use the QR code business, see our numbers. Give us a call, and we'll make sure you join the meetup conversation. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.